Welcome to Deconstructing Jesus, History with a Heretic, the podcast that looks behind the veil. I'm Bradley the Heretic, your visionary guide on this deep dive into history, myth, and the enigmatic Jesus of Nazareth. Whether you're a skeptic, a believer, or simply curious to know more, we're set to challenge established narratives and seek the truth about one of history's most pivotal figures. Join our trek through ancient texts and first century landscapes as we explore the life of the carpenter who reshaped history. Are you ready? As we begin this inaugural chapter of Deconstructing Jesus, History with a Heretic, I want to welcome you to the journey. Today's episode, setting the stage for Jesus, it takes us back in time to a world on the brink of transformation. It's here, in the bustling streets and silent deserts of first century Judea, that our story begins. A land under the shadow of the mighty Roman Empire, pulsating with the hopes and turmoil of its people. It sets the stage for one of history's most enigmatic figures, Jesus of Nazareth. As your guide, I invite you to journey with me beyond the boundaries of tradition and belief to explore a time of profound change and timeless wisdom. Together, we'll uncover the realities of Roman occupation, the richness of the Jewish culture, and what life might really have been like in first century Judea. So, dear listeners, as we set sail on this expedition, let's open our hearts and minds to the possibilities that await. For this story of Jesus, we find not only the roots of a global faith, but the enduring power of human compassion and unyielding quest for truth. Now that we got our sights set on the journey ahead, you might be wondering, who is this guy, Bradley the Heretic, and why is he the one leading this expedition through time, scripture, and the life of Jesus? Well, let me share a bit of my story. Because it's not just the historical figures who are complex and multifaceted. It's us, the seekers and the storytellers. My path began in the heart of the American Midwest, Midwest City, Oklahoma to be precise, where my earliest memories are steeped in the rituals and stories of Christianity. Reading the Bible each night with my pops, falling asleep to the sound of praise and worship music, and soaking in every moment spent at First Christian Church. These experiences were the bedrock of my childhood, especially during the commotion of my parents' divorce, when the church and my grandparents stepped in to provide a constant in the sea of change. My grandma Carol made sure I went to church camp every summer, and that's where my bond with the divine and faith and great outdoors deepened. It was a time of spiritual awakening. It led me to become a counselor at the church camp. I guided others on their faith journeys. But despite this foundation of faith that colored my early years, my life took a sharp turn at 17. Following a suspension from school for an entire semester due to a pocket knife found in my car, I found myself drawn into a vastly different existence. My days were no longer in the classrooms. They were spent in the dimly lit pool halls, where the lessons extended far beyond the felt tables, where these new companions introduced me to these novel, more exhilarating ways to seize life. It wasn't long before I was ensnared by the grip of addiction and a lifestyle of partying that, well, we'll just leave it at that. I was at my lowest point. I thought I was going to die. I sought a way out. I prayed for an escape. That prayer was answered in such an unexpected form. The night I prayed, the next morning I woke up to the voice of a Marine Corps recruiter on the phone. Sergeant Brandon Crow, United States Marine Corps. I hung up on him. Sure enough, I looked right at the ceiling and I said, God, I was joking. What are you talking about? 14 days later, I was in boot camp. And that was March 2003. We had just went to war with Iraq. I chose to be an infantryman. Of course I did, right? So My first experiences in the Marine Corps were 3 deployments to Iraq. These experiences reshaped me in profound ways that I can't even explain and put into words. The battles didn't stop whenever I got home. They just changed form, evolving into struggles with alcoholism and PTSD and a relentless quest for peace within myself. This significant milestone on this journey was achieving sobriety on June 6, 2016. That day, I chose healing. I chose rediscovery. Finally, after 14 and a half years of service, my career as a Marine infantryman ended in 2017 with medical retirement, honoring both the mental and physical sacrifices that I made in the line of duty. Returning back to Oklahoma was so strange, and it marked a form of homecoming, but the man who came back was so fundamentally different than the one who left. The crucibles of war, alongside my personal battles with alcoholism and PTSD, they had changed me. I was so different. My worldview had shifted, my beliefs had matured. This transformation, it set the stage for this new chapter of my life. The new chapter started whenever I went to the University of Central Oklahoma. It was there that I earned a Bachelor of Arts in History and Race and Ethnic Studies. In 2019, when I graduated, I started a new path toward ordination in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ when I enrolled at Phillips Theological Seminary. I continue to pursue a Master of Divinity to this day. My academic pursuits are more than just a quest for degrees. Okay, they are an exploration of our collective history, the intricacies of our existence, and the reflection of these realities in our faith. My academic journey has been one of active engagement, not just within the confines of universities, but on a broader scale. I presented my research nationally and internationally. I've been asked to write a couple books as well. Through history and theology, I seek not just knowledge, but I seek a deeper understanding of our human condition and our place within the world. In 2020, amidst my studies at Phillips, I founded the Oklahoma's chapter of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. And I took on the role of tri-chair until I resigned that position in April of 2023. That was just a few months after I lost my mom to lung cancer. My poor mom that couldn't afford insurance. It was a profound blow, but it also underscored the importance of the work and the need to continue what I was doing. Deconstructing Jesus, History with the Heretic, emerges from this rich tapestry of experiences and learning. This podcast is aimed at delving into the life and times of Jesus, offering insights from the perspective of someone who has encountered the extremities of human experience. Why then am I poised to steer us through this exploration? My life story stands as a vivid illustration of transformation, of resilience born from adversity, and from an unyielding quest for enlightenment and a relationship with the divine. This journey we're about to undertake, it's more than a historical excavation of a figure named Jesus. It's an invitation to traverse the layers of humanity, to touch the essence of divinity, and to appreciate the intricate dance of faith in its most profound forms. With this shared spirit of inquiry and understanding, let us transition to the heart of our podcast. Deconstructing Jesus, History with the Heretic, aims not just to narrate tales from the past, but to weave these stories into our contemporary quest for meaning, challenging our perceptions and inviting us to see the world through a lens polished by the sands of time and human experience. Please join me as we embark on this odyssey to unearth wisdom in the ancient, to find reflections of ourselves in the stories of yesterday, and to illuminate the paths we walk today. Moving forward from this shared spirit of inquiry and understanding, let us delve deeper into what Deconstructing Jesus, History with the Heretic sets out to achieve. This podcast is more than just an auditory experience. It's an intellectual expedition designed to unravel the complex narrative of Jesus of Nazareth. Armed with curiosity and critical perspective, we aim to dissect centuries of layered stories, myths, and significant embellishments to reveal the true essence of this historical figure. In this endeavor, we refuse to be content with merely reiterating well-trodden tales. Our journey takes us directly to the heart of first-century Judea, a place rife with political unrest, cultural shifts, and the kind of societal upheaval that only adds to the drama of our historical epic. Our goal is to unearth the authentic Jesus, a revolutionary figure who dared to defy the established order, championed the cause of the marginalized, and left behind a legacy of teachings that continue to resonate through history. How? How do we propose to undertake such an ambitious task? Good question. By immersing ourselves in a blend of scholarly research, archaeological findings, and contemporary theological discussions. This comprehensive approach allows us to combine elements of history, sociology, anthropology, and political science, thereby providing this nuanced view of the era Jesus inhabited. By examining his life through the prism of social justice, we acknowledge his fundamental commitment to overturning systems of oppression and inequality. Deconstructing Jesus, History with the Heretic, is conceived as a collective exploration. This is an open invitation for you to engage with the conversation, for you to share your insights, and to enrich this journey with a diversity of perspectives. Please feel free to reach out at bradleytheheretic@gmail.com and help us enrich our collective understanding. If you're fascinated by history, passionate about theology, or simply captivated by compelling narratives, you've found your congregation. This podcast isn't just about learning who Jesus was. It's about connecting historical dots in a manner that speaks to our present-day realities. Are you ready to join this quest? Together, let us breathe life into history and embark on a voyage that promises to be as enlightening as it is transformative. As we prepare to venture back to first century Judea in this episode, brace yourself for a deep dive into the era that served as the stage for Jesus of Nazareth's life. This exploration is not about setting a mere historical backdrop. It's about understanding the essence of a time and place crucial to comprehending the context of his existence. Before our central figure makes his entrance, understanding the dynamics of his era, the tensions, the drama, the high stakes, that's essential. Focusing on Judea under Roman occupation, we are presented with a landscape filled with the hopes of liberation and stories of resistance. This setting critically shapes our understanding of Jesus' teachings and actions. By appreciating the significance of this backdrop, we gain a deeper insight into the narratives of Jesus' parables, his inclusive approach, and his audacious confrontations with authority. In delving into this period, we are afforded a view of Jesus in vivid detail as a man who navigated the complexities of his time with unparalleled wisdom and bravery. This journey through history is not merely academic. It's an opportunity to connect with the heart of a revolution and meet a figure at the crossroads of legend and history. So let's set forth. Let's go on this expedition. Let's peel back the layers of centuries to uncover this dynamic world that witnessed the life and legacy of one of the most pivotal figures in history. This episode serves as your compass through the intricate landscapes of political intrigue, social dynamics, and spiritual fervor that laid the groundwork for a story that continues to influence the world. It's time to gaze into the heart of first century Judea, a land pulsating with life and rich in diversity, where the bustling streets of Jerusalem contrast with the serene shores of the Sea of Galilee. Envision a realm where each nook and cranny narrates a saga, where hillsides are laden with the echoes of ancient rites, and fishermen's hopes for a generous haul beneath the watch of the heavens. Jerusalem stands not merely as city, but as the vibrant epicenter of faith and daily existence. Here, the grandeur of the temple soars, embodying not just architectural majesty, but a profound symbol of the divine and indomitable spirit of the people. This city is a melting pot where pilgrims from across the Jewish diaspora gather, each bringing their own narratives, their own desires, and their own supplications, weaving a rich tapestry of faith resonating through ancient streets. Journeying further, we reach the tranquil Capernaum by the Sea of Galilee, a backdrop to wonders and teachings where the echoes of Jesus' words blend with the marketplace's din. Nearby Bethany stands as a testament to miracles, a beacon of life's victory over death, encapsulating the deep mysteries that Jesus navigated. The cadence of Jewish life, from the restorative Sabbath to the liberating Passover, unites the community in tales of exodus, endurance, and the quest for freedom from the clutches of empire. Passover emerges not just as a celebration, but as a vibrant declaration of hope, a collective yearning for deliverance from both tangible and invisible bonds. Yet, beneath this tapestry, the shadow of Rome casts a pall, its presence a constant reminder of the empire's reach. Taxes that drain the populace, soldiers' boots on the streets symbolizing an unyielding dominance, and crucifixion as a chilling spectacle of control, unwittingly setting the stage for a narrative of ultimate sacrifice and redemption. It is within this intricate dance of culture, authority, and defiance that Jesus steps forth. Far removed from the serene images often portrayed, he is a man who traversed these very roads, championing love and justice under the watchful eye of an empire. His narrative transcends mere history. It shines as a beacon of hope and liberation, a voice resonating across millennia. As we delve into the fabric of first century Judea, we do more than travel back in time. We immerse ourselves in the crucible that molded Jesus, confronting the adversaries he faced and recognizing the lasting resonance of his teachings. Let us immerse ourselves in the pulsating life of Jewish society in first century Judea, a place where faith was not merely a backdrop to the daily existence, but the very essence that knit the community's fabric. Envision a society rhythmically pausing every Sabbath, collectively inhaling a moment of respite, reflection, and unity under the profound banner of monotheism, the steadfast belief in a singular, omnipotent God. This journey into the heart of Jewish life transcends abstract faith, embodying it in the concrete through rituals like circumcision, a rite far beyond the mere medical act, signifying a deep covenant with the divine. Dietary laws, too, speak volumes, not about culinary choices, but about distinct identity, a sense of belonging, and a deliberate demarcation from the cultures that encircle them. Picture the synagogue as more than a structure. It's the vibrant nucleus of the community where the Torah doesn't merely exist in silence, but it comes alive through vigorous discussions, debates, and teachings that sculpt life's entire arc. Now, paint this scene with the varied hues of Jewish sects, each contributing its unique shade to the spectrum. The Pharisees, zealous in their adherence to the Torah and oral traditions, brush against the aristocratic Sadducees, who anchor their faith firmly in the Scripture, with temple as their spiritual epicenter. Recall the Essenes, those enigmatic desert dwellers whose contemplative lives bestowed upon us the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then the Zealots, the fervent warriors yearning to sever Roman chains and restore their nation's autonomy. Into this rich, fervent scene steps Jesus, not merely as another voice in the chorus, but as a catalyst for change, challenging the entrenched norms and interweaving his message of love, justice, and a nascent kingdom into the intricate mosaic of Jewish tradition. His presence not only resonates, but also it disrupts. It reshapes the societal landscape, presenting a novel prism through which to interpret the era's customs and conflicts. As we delve into the narrative of Jesus, we traverse beyond the exploration of the single historical figure. We venture into the core of a vibrant, complex society. We observe how his teachings not only intersect with, but also challenge and transcend the Jewish thought currents of his time. This exploration is not merely a backdrop, but the rich soil from which his transformative message of redemption springs forth. To truly tread the paths Jesus and his contemporaries walked in first century Judea, it's essential that we delve into the essence of daily life, stepping beyond the sweeping sagas of empires and uprisings. The everyday lives of Judeans were deeply entrenched in their work, family values, religious practices, and community dynamics, providing a vivid illustration of the environment that Jesus intimately navigated. Let's journey into the daily rhythms and rituals of those dwellings amid the grandeur of temples and the undercurrents of political turmoil to grasp the societal canvas against which his teachings unfolded. Family life. At the heart of Judean society lay the family unit, often an expansive kin network residing together or in close quarters. The family wasn't just a social construct, but a sacred bond, reflective of the covenant between God and his followers. Marriages, typically arranged, aimed at fortifying familial ties and preserving the lineage and religious heritage. Children were raised with strong emphasis on religious adherence and communal duties. The Passover feast, a familial ritual, epitomized the interplay of faith and family, as tales of forebears and divine interventions were recounted and cherished, bridging past and present. Education. The cornerstone of education in Judea was the Torah. Boys were initiated into reading and memorizing scripture from a tender age, often under the tutelage of local rabbis within the synagogue's confines. This focus on religious learning highlighted the Torah's pivotal role in everyday existence and underscored the values of a populace versed in sacred texts and traditions. For many, this foundational education was their passport to participating meaningfully in Judean society and culture. Occupations. Predominantly agrarian, Judea's economy was buoyed by families who farmed essential crops like olives, grapes, and figs, fundamental to the local cuisine. Artisans and craftsmen, including carpenters such as Jesus, were community mainstays, producing tools, furniture, pottery, and textiles. Commerce flourished, especially in larger urban centers, propelled by Judea's strategic locale at the intersection of key trade routes. From fishermen to tax collectors and stonemasons, a diverse array of professions painted the societal landscape. leisure activities. For the laboring masses, leisure moments were very rare, but typically spent in communal gatherings, religious festivals, and even family occasions. Weddings were particularly lavish, uniting communities in a jubilation. These celebrations were imbued with music, storytelling, and dance, crafting a cultural mosaic that offered respite from daily toils. Diving into the quotidian aspects of first century Judean life enriches our comprehension of the backdrop to Jesus' life and teachings. His parables, laden with references to vineyards, nuptial celebrations, and everyday chores, resonated deeply with his audience, melding the sacred with everyday life. Continuing further, we delve into the stark realities of first century Judea, a region under the stringent rule of Rome, where the atmosphere was laden not only with the physical dust from the streets, but also with the burden and despair of economic strife. Imagine a landscape where each coin handed over to tax collectors signified not just financial loss, but a tangible slice of oppression, every taxed plot of land standing as a grim marker of Roman dominance. The Judean populace grappled not merely with imperial rule, but with the exhaustive drain of its voracious economic demands. Taxes on their produce, taxes on their lands, even taxes on their existence, siphoning away both vitality and hope. Enter the publicans, the tax collectors who transformed Roman subjugation into personal gain, wringing their fellow Judeans of every last drop, enriching themselves through the empire's mechanism of exploitation. Far from being mere functionaries, they represented the face of betrayal, deepening societal divisions and exacerbating the gulf between the affluent and the impoverished. In this environment, sharp dichotomies emerged. The Roman and collaborating Jewish elites luxuriating in opulence, contrasted against the backdrop of commoners, farmers, artisans, laborers, struggling to survive within a system inherently skewed against them. Sounds familiar. Economic disparity was not just an issue, it was a ticking time bomb, laden with the collective frustrations and despair of those ensnared in a seemingly inescapable plight. Amid this volatile mix stood a meticulously structured hierarchy, with the Roman authorities and Jewish high priest at the top, presiding over a societal pyramid that offered nearly zero opportunity for upward mobility. At the foundation of this pyramid were the marginalized, the lepers, the women, the impoverished, marked by their status rendered invisible, devoid of voice. Into this fray stepped Jesus, embodying not only dissent, but a profound challenge to the established order. His message did not conform to the accepted norms of the social hierarchy. Instead, he extended this hand of compassion to those relegating to the fringes, affirming their value, their dignity, their inherent right to recognition, to respect. Women, lepers, the destitute, none were excluded from his envisioning of a reformed society, a realm wherein love surmounted division and justice was not an abstract concept, but a tangible reality. Through his deeds and parables, Jesus envisaged an alternate society founded not on the bedrock of power and privilege, rather on the principles of equality, unity, and unconditional love. He heralded a heart-centric revolution, a radical redefinition of societal norms where the marginalized could lead and the privileged might serve. In an era marked by deep-seated division and despair, Jesus projected a beacon of hope, articulating a vision of a domain where justice flowed like a river and righteousness like an unfailing stream. As we traverse the intricate landscape of social and economic strife in first century Judea, let us look beyond the oppression and suffering to recognize the nascent whispers of transformation initiated by a carpenter from Nazareth. His legacy of love and equity invites us to transcend our constructed hierarchies, acknowledging the inherent worth in every individual, and to strive towards a world where hope, dignity, and justice are accessible to all, regardless of their circumstances or standing. As we journey deeper, it is essential to acquaint ourselves with the pivotal figures who sculpted its political and spiritual contours. Their actions, their decisions, and even their very characters were instrumental in creating the setting against which the narrative of Jesus' ministry unfolded. Let's embark on this journey through time to meet some of these influential personalities, delving into their legacies and the dynamics of this era. Herod the Great. An architect of monumental scale, Herod's tenure, 37 BCE to 4 CE, is marked by the majestic expansion of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, leaving a lasting architectural legacy in Judea. Yet, his reign was tarnished by episodes of acute paranoia and ruthless governance, including the notorious massacre of the innocents depicted in the Gospel of Matthew. That's right, Herod the Great's the one that sent Jesus and his family running for their lives into Egypt. Herod's era was a paradox of grandeur and tyranny, fostering a realm that was simultaneously at the peak of architectural innovation, but on the brink of societal unrest. The fragmentation of his kingdom upon his death laid the groundwork for the fragmented political landscape into which Jesus grew up. Pontius Pilate. As the Roman governor of Judea, 26 CE to 36 CE, Pilate's stewardship is indelibly linked with the trial and execution of Jesus. Descriptions paint him as a pragmatic ruler, tasked with the delicate balance of upholding Roman dominion while navigating Judea's intricate religious sentiments. Pilate's acquiescence to the crucifixion of Jesus underscores the fragile equilibrium of authority, showcasing the volatile nature of Roman and Jewish interactions during this period. Caiaphas. Occupying the esteemed position of the high priest at the Jerusalem temple, Caiaphas' tenure, 18 CE to 36 CE, coincided with one of the most tumultuous periods of Judean history. His role extended beyond the spiritual, deeply intertwined with the era's political intricacies. That's right, he wasn't just the spiritual leader, he was the political leader. He acted as the Roman liaison, or the liaison between the Jewish people, their community, and the Roman occupiers. The gospel narratives, they cast him as the principal architect in the conspiracy against Jesus. That means the political head is against Jesus, not just the religious. Perceiving Jesus as a rising sway as a disruptor to the status quo. Caiaphas' narrative exemplifies the challenges of religious leadership under Roman rule, where his political wants necessitated compromises that could betray his core religious principles. Herod Antipas. He was the tetrarch of Galilee during Jesus' ministry. Herod Antipas is infamously remembered for ordering John the Baptist's execution. Mirroring his father, Herod the Great, Antipas's rule was characterized by ambitious construction endeavors and personal scandals, which John publicly criticized. Jesus' reference to Antipas as, quote, that fox, hints at the cunning and political savvy defining his governance. Antipas's reign serves as a vivid example of how personal ambition and political strategy were interwoven with prophetic voices of John the Baptist and Jesus, challenging the status quo. These figures were not mere bystanders in the historical drama of first century Judea. They were the central players. They were shaping the era's narrative. By exploring their influence and their context of their reigns, we've gained deeper insights into the intricate political and religious scene that Jesus navigated. This this enriched historical understanding, it illuminates the gospel stories. It casts Jesus' teachings and actions in a light that reveals the profound bravery and revolutionary spirit of his message amidst the era of power struggles, oppression, and political intrigue. Continuing our exploration of first century Judea, I invite us into this world not merely as a setting of biblical narratives, but as a nexus of cultural currents. This land, both rich in history and enigma, functioned as a vibrant mosaic crafted from the myriad of influences of intersecting civilizations, each imprinting its essence upon the social and spiritual landscapes of the era. First, let's consider the Egyptians, whose ancient legacy captivated the Mediterranean people. By Jesus' time, Egypt had weathered the dominion of empires from Persian to Greek to Roman, yet its cultural and religious influence persisted. The Exodus narrative, pivotal to Jewish self-conception, mirrors a nuanced interplay with Egypt, marrying historical recollections with the deep imprints of Egyptian religious notions like the afterlife and divine judgment, subtly infusing Jewish theology. The Persians also left a lasting impact on Judean soil. With Cyrus the Great's conquest of Babylon and his subsequent edict allowing Jewish people to return, the exiles to return and reconstruct the temple, it offered a window for Persian cultural and theological influence to combine itself, to attach itself to the Jewish tradition. This era, it saw the integration of Persian concepts such as angelology and the binary of good versus evil into Jewish thought, enriching the tapestry of apocalyptic literature that thrived in Judea. Oh, the Greeks. The Greeks' entry through Alexander the Great's conquest introduced the Judean world to a flood of Hellenistic philosophy, language, and civic ideals. This wave of Hellenism, championing reason, aestheticism, and the polis, both clashed with and catalyzed Jewish intellectualism, sparking this profound cultural and theological dialogue. Despite the resistance epitomized by the Maccabean revolt against the enforced Hellenization, Greek influence persistently suffused Jewish art, architecture, and even theological speculation. Beyond the imprints of foreign powers, Judea itself was a realm of rich internal plurality, where Jewish, Samaritan, and other native traditions coexisted and conversed. This intricate weave of cultural and religious identities sets the stage for Jesus' teaching. By acknowledging the myriad cultural interactions and influences that sculpted first century Judea, we attain a deeper insight into the intricate world that Jesus inhabited. It was a world where age-old traditions encountered the ferment of emerging ideologies, a quest for identity and purpose that echoes the universal human journey. As we delve into Jesus' life and teachings, remembering this complex matrix of influences enriches our understanding of his message and its lasting resonance in a world forever transformed by the convergence and fusion of cultures. I briefly mentioned the Samaritans just a moment ago, and I'd like to take a second to go deeper in to their complex societal weave of first century Judea, standing both akin to and starkly divergent from the Jewish populace. Originating from a common ancestral lineage with the Jews, tracing back to the ancient Israelites, both groups revered the same deity and honored sacred scriptures. Despite these shared foundations, their paths diverged significantly, cultivating a landscape of deep-rooted tensions and mutual wariness. The Samaritans' lineage is rooted in the northern kingdom of Israel, with its historical epicenter in Samaria. The Assyrian conquest in the 8th century BCE and the ensuing exile of numerous Israelites led to the remaining inhabitants intermingling with settlers from diverse regions of the Assyrian Empire. This melding birthed the Samaritan community, distinguished by unique religious rites and an identity distinct from the southern Jewish kingdom of Judah. Central to the rift between the Jews and the Samaritans was the contested locus of divine worship. Where did they go to worship God? Jews held the temple in Jerusalem as the unparalleled sanctum of worship and sacrifice as decreed by divine mandate. Conversely, Samaritans venerated Mount Gerizim, close to Sichem, as the sacred site bequeathed by Moses. This theological contention was emblematic of broader divergences, including discrepancies in religious texts, with Samaritans acknowledging solely their rendition of the Pentateuch and eschewing the prophetic and writing revered by Jews. Socio-religious dynamics. Relations between Jews and Samaritans were characterized by mutual distancing and antagonism, stemming from religious discord and historical political strife. Jews often regarded Samaritans as heretical, leading to their ostracization from Jerusalem's spiritual community and fostering prevalent bias. This hostility was reciprocated by the Samaritans, cementing a deep-seated divide that influenced everyday interactions and communal dynamics. Yet, New Testament narratives recount instances of Jesus' engagement with Samaritans that illuminate potential bridges over these divides. The encounter with the Samaritan woman at the well is particularly poignant, as Jesus defies societal norms to discuss worship that transcends geographical confines, advocating for worship in spirit and truth. The parable of the Good Samaritan further subverts expectations, positioning a Samaritan as the embodiment of neighborly compassion, urging listeners to transcend deep-seated prejudices and acknowledge the underlying commonality uniting disparate communities. Broader implications. Delving into juxtapositions and parallels between Jews and Samaritans unveils a deeper comprehension of first-century Judea's intricate social landscape. This exploration into their interactions sheds light on an era marked by religious plurality and societal friction, but also moments of meaningful connection that challenge prevailing divisions. Through this lens, the teachings and deeds of Jesus are imbued with an amplified significance, championing a message of inclusivity, love, and the dismantling of barriers that continues to echo through the ages. Next, I want to talk about the word Messiah. Let's talk about that. What did that mean to the Jewish people at the time? It wasn't monolithic. It was multifaceted. Each group, each sect believed a Messiah differently. The Essenes, for example, secluded in the desert, their gaze fixed on the celestial realms, awaiting a divine warrior to purge the world of sin and inaugurate an era of pristine sanctity. Now consider the Pharisees, devout adherents of the Torah, anticipating a virtuous teacher who would reclaim the nation's spiritual glory, illuminating the path with the Torah's wisdom. Now the Sadducees, on the other hand, entrenched in their clerical aristocracy, they envisioned the Messiah as a restorer of the temple magnificence, solidifying their societal dominance. On the Zealots, with their defiance against Rome, they dreamt of a militant Messiah, a liberator, to reclaim their political autonomy and restore national pride. It was into this complex weave of messianic expectations where Jesus emerged. Jesus eschewed the mantle of militaristic or temporal authority. Instead, he envisaged a kingdom transcending earthly domains, a kingdom rooted in the soul, anchored in repentance, forgiveness, and a boundless love that traversed all barriers. Jesus redefined the Messiah as a suffering servant, embodying humility and sacrifice, a journey culminating not in coronation, but through the throes of rejection and the crucible of the cross. His messiahship wielded healing and restoration over conquest, prioritizing the reconciliation of broken spirits and the renewal of life over the dismantling of empires. The reception to Jesus' radical reinterpretation was just as diverse as the spectrum of the expectations he confronted. To some, he epitomized this realization of their most profound spiritual yearnings, a Messiah resonating with their deepest essence. Others tethered to visions of dominion and grandeur, dismissed him, the revolutionary nature of his message unsettling the very foundations of their world. Regardless of the varied responses, Jesus' conception of the Messiah imprinted an enduring legacy on Judea's sands, posing a challenge that reverberates today. He beckoned humanity to transcend the allure of power, envisioning the kingdom where the humble lead and the gentle inherit the earth, and love reigns supreme. As we continue to navigate this historical mosaic of messianic expectations, let us not overlook the transformative hope that Jesus heralded, a hope extending beyond first-century Judea to all humankind, urging us towards a loftier understanding of salvation, liberty, and our shared community. Now I want to take a deeper look at the religious sects of Judaism that existed at the time of Jesus. Let's start with the Pharisees. The Pharisees were known for valuing oral tradition as complementary to the written Torah. The Pharisees advocated for the resurrection of the dead, a belief that was not universally embraced across the Jewish thought. Their commitment to purity laws extended beyond the priesthood to the general populace, aiming to infuse daily life with holiness. Despite clashes with Jesus over interpretations of the Torah and perceived challenges to their authority, it is notable that Jesus' emphasis on love and justice found echoes in Pharisaic thought, illustrating areas of conceptual convergence despite their disagreements. Sadducees. The Sadducees, occupying the upper echelons of society, they represented a conservative theological stance, eschewing oral tradition in favor of the Torah's written text as the sole source of divine law. Their rejection of doctrines such as the resurrection and angelology contrasted sharply with their emphasis on temple rites. Their alliance with Roman powers and prioritization of ritual sacrifices drew criticism from Jesus and others who advocated for a broader vision of righteousness beyond temple confines. The Essenes. This ascetic group withdrew from urban centers to lead a communal monastic life, notably around the Dead Sea. Their daily life was marked by ritual purifications, communal meals, and shared anticipation of God's imminent kingdom. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, encompassing biblical texts, sectarian documents, and apocalyptic works, sheds light on their religious worldview. While the Gospels don't document direct interactions between Jesus and the Essenes, parallels and messages of communal ethics, eschatological expectation, and critiques of materialism suggest underlying affinities. Zealots. Primarily a political faction infused with religious zeal, the Zealots championed armed resistance against Roman domination, asserting that the exclusive sovereignty of God over Israel. Their involvement in the Jewish revolt underscores a militant response to occupation, contrasting with Jesus' advocacy for peace and nonviolent resistance, thereby highlighting the spectrum of Jewish responses to Roman governance. As we explore these sects, doctrines, and societal engagements, we offer a deeper understanding of the religious and intellectual currents that swirled in Jesus' time. His teachings navigated this complex landscape, at times aligning with, at times challenging, and at times transcending the views of these groups. As we continue, we start to ask ourselves, how do we know so much about these ancient people? Our exploration of the vibrant world of first century Judea, its inhabitants, and the myriad beliefs that shape their existence is deeply rooted in the rich soil of primary sources. These documents, archaeological treasures, and contemporary narratives act as portals to the past, offering us unfiltered glimpses into the thoughts, lives, and pivotal moments of that era. Highlighting some of these key sources, we aim to equip you, the listeners, with a guide for your own journey into this intriguing historical landscape. We'll start with the Hebrew Bible, or Tanakh. Predating the first century, the Hebrew Bible remains a cornerstone for understanding the religious, cultural, and philosophical underpinnings of Jewish society. It lays the groundwork for the diverse sectarian beliefs of the time, offering the theological and moral foundation that groups like the Pharisees, Sadducees, and Essenes elaborated upon in their distinct doctrines. The New Testament, encompassing the Gospels, Acts, Epistles, and Revelation, the New Testament is an indispensable for studying the life and teachings of Jesus, the genesis of the early Christian community, and their engagement with the wider Jewish and Roman environments. The Gospels of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, in particular, provide narratives of Jesus' ministry within the societal and cultural scene of his day. Josephus. Flavius Josephus, a Jewish historian from the first century, offers critical historical accounts in The Jewish War and Antiquities of the Jews. His writings are invaluable for understanding Jewish-Roman tensions, the spectrum of Jewish sects, and the broader socio-political dynamics of Judea, offering a context for the events and narratives found in the New Testament. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The mid-20th century discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls unveiled a vast collection of texts, including biblical manuscripts, sectarian documents thought to be linked with the Essenes, and apocalyptic writings. These texts illuminate the beliefs, the practices, and the eschatological hopes of a significant Jewish community during the Second Temple period. The Talmud. While compiled later centuries, the Mishnah and Gemara of the Talmud preserve oral traditions that extend back to the first century and beyond. These compendiums of Jewish legal debate, ethical discourse, and cultural norms reflect the rich religious and intellectual fervor of the era. Philo of Alexandria. Philo, a Hellenistic Jewish philosopher contemporaneous with Jesus, merged Greek philosophical inquiry with Jewish theological thought. His works provide insight into how Jewish tradition interacted with the broader currents of Hellenistic philosophy, enriching our understanding of the intellectual diversity of the time. Roman histories. Historians like Tacitus and Suetonius offer perspectives from the Roman vantage point, detailing Judea's role within the Roman Empire and occasionally commenting on figures such as Jesus and the burgeoning Christian movement, providing a valuable external viewpoint on the period. Engaging with these primary sources invites us into a direct conversation with the historical fabric of first-century Judea. Each document, be it the theological discourses in the Talmud, Josephus' historical narratives, or the intimate portraits of Jesus in the Gospels, beckons us to deeper into the heart of an era that is both remote and startlingly resonant. And with that, we draw the curtains on today's episode of Deconstructing Jesus, History with a Heretic. We've journeyed together through the dynamic landscapes of first-century Judea, exploring the intricate world into which Jesus was born and the rich tapestry of expectations that he encountered. From the oppressive dominance of Roman rule to the fervent discussions surrounding the concept of the Messiah, we've ventured deep into the historical and cultural milieu that shaped Jesus' transformative teachings. But this is merely the beginning. Up next, we venture into Unveiling the Man, an episode dedicated to exploring the essence of Jesus, the teachings, miracles, and the radical ideologies that drew crowds and sowed the seeds of a legacy that endures to this day. Our exploration is not just about revisiting ancient history. It's about forging connections, questioning the long-held beliefs, and rediscovering the core of Jesus' message of unwavering love and justice. The groundwork laid today serves as our foundation for appreciating the revolutionary impact of his teachings. This journey is a collaborative endeavor. I am not here to merely narrate. I am here to engage, to exchange ideas, and to welcome your insights, queries, and personal reflections. Reach out through social media, send an email with your thoughts. Let's enrich this dialogue together. Your perspectives are invaluable, adding depth and dimension to our collective exploration of Jesus of Nazareth's life and teachings. Ensure you're subscribed to stay abreast of our deep dives into the life of the historical Jesus. Invite a friend to join in. Our quest is all the richer with a multitude of voices and viewpoints. As we draw this episode to a close, I want to express my deepest gratitude for your presence and curiosity. We have ventured together through the intricate history and theological landscapes that shaped Jesus' era. To deepen your exploration, I encourage you to consult these pivotal works that informed our episode today. Jesus, the Jewish religion in the first century, found in Encyclopedia Britannica, sheds light on the religious fabric of Jesus' time. Warren Carter's The Roman Empire and the New Testament, an essential guide, is a text that offers profound insights into the intersection of Roman society and early Christianity. Emil Schurer's A History of the Jewish People in the Time of Jesus Christ is a comprehensive account of the socio-political and religious context surrounding Jesus' life. These works and others shed light as we navigate the intricacies of first-century Judea and beyond. So until Unveiling the Man brings us back together, keep the flame of curiosity burning, remain open to expanding your understanding, and above all, be good and be good to each other. As our journey today comes to a close, I want to thank you for walking these ancient paths with me. We ventured together through questions and revelations, seeking a deeper understanding. The quest for knowledge is unending, and today is merely a step on a longer journey. I encourage you to continue this exploration with me, to question, to seek, and to love with the same fierce compassion as we've discussed today. To delve deeper and join our community of seekers, visit bradleytheheretic.com. There you'll find more resources, discussions, and ways to engage with the questions that move us. Farewell, seekers of truth, until our paths cross again. Remember, in these stories of the past, we find the seeds of our future. Jesus was a hippie from above. He came down from heaven like a dove. He landed on the beach. He started dancing to the beat of a reggae song. 'Cause Jesus loved reggae music. Oh, Jesus loved reggae music. Reggae was the devil's music, but Jesus loved the devil's music.